Welcome, one and all, to the wildest festival in Lithas, the Great Beer Off. The square is packed shoulder to shoulder. The smell of grilled sausages and frothy ale fills the air, and the ground itself shakes with the chants of the crowd. Banners fly, mugs clink, barrels tower like monuments waiting to be toppled. Before the festival even begins, the phones are already buzzing. Across Lithas, voices crackle over the lines, each one certain this year's beer fest will be more chaotic than the last. One brags that they've packed already, claiming this year will go off the rails. Another scoffs, reminding everyone of last year's keg in the fountain disaster, warning nothing could top a foam tsunami. But the reply is quick. Oh, it'll be topped, with sausage cannons, 30-mug races. And look here. One contender struts forward, sunglasses flashing, chest out, ready to dive in. But before he can touch a mug, a figure in red robes grabs his arm and drags him off. The crowd roars as she declares, "No beer fest tonight. We're wine tasting." And just like that, he's gone. The games continue without him. A towering giant lifts a keg one-handed as if it were a pebble, flexing to a chorus of cheers. Back in the arena, the keg toss begins. The strongman winds up, mustache curling, and sends the barrel flying across the square. At the food tables, all order is lost. Plates slam, links of sausage are hurled skyward like fireworks. A mighty fist sends an entire string whistling overhead, raining down on the crowd. Buns are launched back in retaliation, bouncing off shields, armor. Next event, the Stein holding race. Contestants sprint with towers of mugs, foam sloshing over the rims. One poor soul stacks 30 high, wobbling like a tower. Away from the roaring contests and shouting crowds, there's another kind of frenzy at the festival. The food stalls. And none draw a bigger line than Benson's booth. His cheese fries are legendary. Crispy, golden, smothered in sauce, so rich it makes even the toughest warrior weep with joy. But behind the counter, the truth is far less savory. His bubbling pots aren't filled with ordinary ingredients. No, Benson's secret recipe comes from sentient baby cheeses and potatoes. Tiny faces peek from the baskets, squeaking in terror as he peels and stirs. Their little voices vanish beneath the sizzle of the fryer and the roar of the crowd. But revenge comes fast. A furious potato warrior in a block of cheese and a trucker hat torch Benson's booth, flames tearing through the stand. With nowhere to run, he's shoved into the dunk tank, splashing down into a vat of beer as the crowd roars. The baby cheeses and potatoes are avenged. Elsewhere at the festival, the Spar Kings set up their usual strange stand, gyros stacked high beside steaming trays of crawfish. A towering, drunken figure staggers forward, eyes locked on the gyros. With no patience for waiting, she bellows her demand, cuts the line, and smashes straight through the booth. As the day drags on, the chaos only grows. Drunk riders topple off mechanical bulls, barrels roll through the streets like boulders, and beer pong tables collapse under the weight of too many mugs. The French duelist crosses blades with Inigo Montoya, sparks flying as the crowd roars. Not far away, Mega hatches a plan to save his friend Rom from the horrors of wine tasting and pull him into Beer Fest where he belongs. Meanwhile at the vineyard, Rom swirls a glass of wine, trying to look refined. But the illusion shatters when a snooty Frenchman sneers at his bare arms and says, "No sleeves, no service." Back at the festival, Mega's scheme takes shape. He calls on the towering goat games to snatch Elowyn and carry her into Beer Fest. The plan works. She cries out, promising Rom a kiss if he saves her. Relieved for an excuse to escape the vineyard he never wanted to be in, Rom bolts after the giant goat, charging straight toward the chaos. When Rom finally catches up, the rescue turns into a live-action Donkey Kong. The towering goat cackles and hurls beer barrels down the path, each one bouncing and crashing as Rom dodges, leaps, and scrambles closer to save Elowyn. With one leap left, Selena strikes, pouncing like a cat chasing a red light, tearing into Rom before leaping away, mocking his failed rescue. Goat knows the truth. Beer to Rom is what spinach is to Popeye. One sip and his strength surges back for the fight. Hopefully he still gets a kiss. Next, the hammer wielder steps up. A thunderclap of impact. The tug of war was set. Men on one side, straining, grunting, already slipping in the mud, and the women on the other, calm, steady, smirking like they knew what was coming. The horn blew. No wonder the sausages ran out early. Looks like we're dealing with small portions over here. The women howled with laughter while the men sat dripping in mud, too broken to answer back. Then, with one crushing heave, the ladies dragged the men headfirst into the mud. The crowd erupted as the victors threw their arms up in triumph. One shouted, "That's all you've got?" The beer festival wasn't just chaos in the streets. Inside the bar, it was even wilder. Tables were packed, mugs slammed on wood, and every cheer shook the rafters. Foam dripped from the ceiling, and no one could tell if the floor was beer or mud. At the center of it all stood Quinn. She lined up shot after shot, slamming them back until the counter shook. With a laugh, she dropped her warhammer onto the bar, grabbed a beer, chugged it down, and went right back to the shots. Selena joined her, pulling her onto the floor, and in seconds they had the whole room on its feet. A conga line broke out, men and women jumping in, weaving between tables, mugs in hand, the bar roaring in drunken celebration. But the ladies may have gotten a little too rowdy. The chants grew louder, the mugs flew higher, and soon they had poor Dustin up on a table. With the whole bar egging him on, the flannel came off, coal dust flying everywhere. Outside the bar, the porta-potty line was agony. Warriors shifting from foot to foot like it was the hardest endurance trial of the festival. One groaned, "This isn't beer fest, it's bladder fest." The lines were so bad, some tried the fountain instead, until Goat caught them and called security on the spot. And that's the heart of RomCom: laughter, chaos, and community. What started as a parody beer festival has grown into a living world, filled with warriors, misfits, and legends from every corner of Lithas. But the cast is never finished. With each new guild, each new gamer who joins the madness, the story only gets bigger, funnier, and wilder. RomCom isn't just a comic. It's a stage where the whole community can play a part. We want more stories, more voices, more mayhem from every guild out there. I hope you enjoyed the Great Lithas Beer Off. And remember, there's always room for another character at the table, maybe even you.